Hello everybody! If you want to read all the story's content in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short story 684A, The Whispering House. Intermediate. It was Halloween night, and the wind howled through the trees like a lonely ghost. Rain tapped softly on the windows of the old house at the end of Willow Lane. No one had lived there for 20 years, not since the strange disappearance of Mrs. Elsie Gray. But tonight, 3 friends, Liam, Maya, and Tom, stood outside the rusted gate. They were brave, or perhaps just foolish. They had made a bet. Whoever spent 1 hour inside the whispering house would win £50. Ready? Asked Liam, his voice shaking slightly. Maya nodded, though her hands were cold. Tom just grinned and pushed the gate open with a loud creak. Inside, the air was thick with dust and silence. Moonlight slipped through the broken windows, casting long shadows on the peeling wallpaper. The floorboards groaned under their feet as they stepped into the hallway. "Let's stay together," Maya whispered. They moved slowly through the house. In the kitchen, pots hung crookedly from hooks. In the sitting room, an old armchair faced a cold fireplace. Everything felt watched. Then they heard it, a soft whisper, like someone speaking just behind them. "Did you hear that?" Tom asked, his grin gone. Before anyone could answer, the whisper came again, clearer this time. "Leave, while you still can." Liam's heart pounded. Maybe we should go. But Maya, curious and stubborn, walked toward the stairs. "It's just the wind," she said, though her voice trembled. At the top of the stairs was a small bedroom. The door was slightly open. Inside, a dusty mirror hung on the wall. As Maya stepped closer, her reflection didn't move. Instead, it smiled, a slow, sad smile that wasn't hers. She gasped and stumbled back. The whisper returned, louder now. "You shouldn't have come." Suddenly, the front door slammed shut downstairs. The lights, if there had ever been any, flickered in their minds, though the house had no electricity. Cold air rushed through the hallway. "Run!" shouted Tom. They raced down the stairs, tripping over each other in panic. The front door wouldn't open. It was locked from the inside, but no one had locked it. Then from the top of the stairs a figure appeared. It was Mrs. Elsie Gray, pale, dressed in an old nightgown, her eyes full of sorrow, not anger. "I didn't mean to scare you," she said gently. "I only wanted someone to know the truth." The friends froze. "My son locked me in the attic," she whispered. "He wanted the house for himself. I've been waiting for someone to hear me." Tears filled at Maya's eyes. "We'll tell everyone," she promised. Mrs. Gray smiled faintly and vanished. The front door clicked open. The 3 friends ran outside and didn't stop until they reached the streetlight at the corner. They never collected their bet. Instead, they went straight to the police. A week later, builders found human bones in the attic and a hidden diary that told the whole story. Mrs. Gray was finally given a proper burial. The house was torn down. In its place, a small garden now blooms every autumn, filled with white lilies, the flower Mrs. Gray loved the most. And if you walk past Willow Lane on a quiet Halloween night, you might hear a soft whisper on the wind. But this time, it sounds like thank you. Vocabulary notes. Whisper, meaning to speak very softly, using one's breath without fully using the voice, often done secretly or quietly. Example, then they heard it, a soft whisper, like someone speaking just behind them. Similar words: murmur, mutter, sigh, breathe, hum in a quiet voice. Note: a whisper is quieter than normal speech and often suggests secrecy, fear, or intimacy. Disappearance, meaning the act of someone or something vanishing or no longer being seen, often mysterious or unexplained. Example: no one had lived there for 20 years, not since the strange disappearance of Mrs. Elsie Gray. Similar words: vanishing, loss, absence, exit, departure, though disappearance often implies mystery. Note: this word is commonly used in mysteries or ghost stories when someone goes missing without explanation. Creak, meaning a long, low sound made when something, like wood or metal, moves or rubs, often due to age or pressure. Example: Tom just grinned and pushed the gate open with a loud creak. Similar words: groan, squeak, screech, moan, when describing sounds from objects. Note: creak is often associated with old doors, floors, or gates, and is a classic sound in spooky stories. Tremble, meaning to shake slightly, usually because of fear, cold, or strong emotion. Example: it's just the wind, she said, though her voice trembled. Similar words: shake, shiver, quiver, quake, wobble. Note: while shiver often refers to cold, tremble is more linked to fear or nervousness. Vanish, meaning to disappear suddenly or completely, often in a way that seems magical or mysterious. Example: Mrs. Gray smiled faintly and vanished. Similar words: disappear, fade, evaporate, dissolve, melt away. Note: vanish suggests a quick or unexpected disappearance, common in ghost stories or magic. Story written by Qwen3 Max AI. Image created by onemin.ai. To read all the story's content in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. CC Music, drifting at 432 Hz, Unicorn Heads.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're not looking at global trends or historical shifts. Instead, we're zooming right in.
Right in on one short story, The Whispering House.
Yeah, exactly. And our mission really is about structure. How is this spooky story built? We're looking at its architecture,
And especially how language, specifically 5 key words, builds that atmosphere and tension. It's quite a neat piece of writing.
Okay, so let's set the scene. It's Halloween. We've got this old, creepy house at the end of Willow Lane.
The classic setup. And it's supposedly haunted because of the disappearance of Mrs. Elsie Gray 20 years ago.
That word, disappearance, it does so much heavy lifting right from the start. It just hangs there.
It really does. Because death gives you closure, right? But a disappearance, that's an open wound, a mystery waiting. It sets up the dread immediately.
And our characters, Liam, Maya, Tom, they're not exactly ghost hunters. They're there because of a dare. A 50-quid bet?
A pretty foolish bet, yeah.
Yeah.
Spend an hour inside. That's the plot engine, basically. It forces them in.
So Tom pushes the gate open.
And you get that sound, that loud creak.
Yeah, that classic horror sound. It's like the house is announcing itself.
Definitely. And inside,
Mm-hmm.
it's just as you'd expect. Dust everywhere, shadows stretching. You can almost feel the chill.
But then comes the first real shock. Not a visual thing, but a sound.
A soft whisper.
Right. Telling them, leave while you still can.
So creepy.
It's interesting. It's a whisper, isn't it? Not a scream. A whisper feels closer, more personal somehow.
More intimate. And it lands because the text says Maya, even though she tries to brush it off as wind.
Her voice starts to tremble.
Yeah, that physical reaction, the fear's taken hold.
And that fear, her trembling, it kind of propels her upstairs, doesn't it? Leads her towards the real climax of the haunting.
To that small bedroom. And the mirror scene? Wow, her reflection doesn't move with her.
It just smiles. A slow, sad smile. Not hers.
That's deeply unsettling. It messes with your sense of self right before the big confrontation.
Exactly. Perfect timing, because right after that, bang, the
Yeah.
front door slams shut.
Locked from the inside. And there she is, Mrs. Elsie Gray. Top of the stairs. Pale, nightgown. The whole ghostly image.
This is normally where, the ghost goes full-on terrifying. Pure evil unleashed.
But the story does something really clever here. It pulls back from that. It subverts the expectation.
How so?
Well, instead of rage or threats, Mrs. Gray speaks gently. She tells them the truth.
My son locked me in the attic. He wanted the house for himself.
See, the horror isn't supernatural malevolence. It's human cruelty, betrayal.
Oh, wow. So the fear just shifts instantly. It becomes pity, sadness.
Precisely. All she wanted was for anyone, to finally hear her story.
And then she just vanished. Faintly, quietly.
And that word, vanish, it feels so deliberate, not just disappeared. Vanish implies, well, completion. Release, maybe?
Her story is finally out. Her purpose fulfilled.
Yeah, and the kids, they run. Forget the bed entirely.
Can't blame them. They go straight to the police.
Which leads to the confirmation. A week later, builders find bones in the attic. And a diary.
Confirming her story. So she finally gets a proper burial. The mystery of the disappearance is solved.
It brings everything full circle. The story uses all those classic horror elements, the creak, the whisper, the characters tremble, but leads us somewhere unexpected.
Towards human tragedy, not just spectral terror.
Exactly. It reframes the initial disappearance and gives meaning to her final vanish. It's about resolving sorrow.
And that leads to that really poignant final image, doesn't it? The house is torn down.
Replaced by a garden, white lilies, her favorite flower.
And the final sound isn't a scary whisper anymore. It's just soft. But thank you.
It leaves you with this sense of peace almost, not a chill, which is quite unusual for a ghost story. It shows how fear can sometimes just be a mask for unresolved pain.
So think about that last whisper. The thank you. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What quiet truths might be hidden behind the loud, scary things in our own lives? What secrets are just waiting for someone to finally listen? Maybe look for that softer truth sometimes.